Usually his humor is lighthearted and playful, but once in a while he drills us in our hearts with dodgeball-sized melancholy. Here are what I believe are the 5 saddest Adam Sandler movies. Or moments, whatever you want to call it. Funny People is an ironically named story about a comic named George Simmons who has already climbed through the ranks of the stand-up comedy world to the point of stardom. He is an inspiration to other entertainers and is recognized everywhere he goes as a light in the dark. He also has a terminal strain of leukemia, and the movie only waits about 4 minutes to hit us in the feels with that one.
I can't predict how this will play out, but I feel you have a rough road ahead of you.
The entire movie has a very gloomy atmosphere to it because we know he is sick, but on screen, he quietly steers his life towards a farewell tour. He spends what could be the last few weeks of his life mentoring a struggling young comedian, played by Seth Rogen, and guilt-tripping his ex-wife. Although it's a movie about people who are funny, the premise has a constant overcast feeling to it. It's like the London weather of the Sandlerverse. They could have definitely waited till the climax to tell us he was sick, but I'm kinda glad they didn't. It makes it unique. Goodbye, Julian. Big Daddy is one of the all-time greats. Adam Sandler's character Sonny Colfax is basically the father we always want to be someday, but deep down we know we'd care too much about our kids to give them that kind of freedom. Hey, you want to eat Captain Crunch and orange soda for breakfast, then jump around to the Kangaroo song? Okay, well, I hope it tastes good again on its way out. The movie is undeniably funny and Frankenstein is adorable, but at the end of the day, it was never his child to begin with. We can play pretend and root for the happy ending, but we just don't get it. At the end of the movie, all of the stars are aligned and gathered for a custody hearing. And after tugging on the heartstrings of us for a little while longer, Sonny's own father takes the stand. And surely, Sandler is going to defy the odds of the situation and win the custody battle, right? Wrong. The movie sucker punches us right where it hurts. Julian and Sonny's final goodbye makes for a fine but painful swan song.
You to be my dad, Sonny.
I know, I do too, pal.
One last first kiss. 50 First Dates was originally set to be filmed in Seattle, but was changed last minute to Hawaii for the obvious aesthetic reasons. There you go. Doing a little fun fact for you. We all know the plot, right? Adam Sandler's character falls in love with Drew Barrymore, but she has a rare form of amnesia that causes her to forget everything that happened the day before when she wakes up in the morning. We see Sandler strike out time and time again and learn how to swoon this waffle-loving hottie, but ultimately it's not him that gives up on this complicated romance. Unbeknownst to Sandler, Drew has been writing in her diary consistently to assist her own memory. She's been writing in it every day after she meets him as a way to explain the relationship to herself personally. The realization settles in that they'll probably never have a stable future together, and even if they broke up, she wouldn't have to remember it, so she throws in the towel. They have this weirdest date of all time and take turns reading through her secret Sandler diary before tearing all of the memories apart and setting fire to their past. As they part ways in a symbolic downpour, she coaxes him for a proper goodbye.
Could I have one last first kiss?
They Call Me Mr. Man. Reign Over Me is by far the saddest movie on this list. Adam Sandler plays Charlie Feynman, a doctor who has lost his wife and daughters during the 9/11 tragedy. When we meet him, we know he's suffering through a lot of trauma from his awkwardness and unkempt look, but we don't know to what extent the emotional damages are or what he's holding on to. He lives his life carelessly at bars and playing video games and doing whatever Charlie wants to do so that it distracts him from his reality. Slowly but persistently, his friends around him push him towards counseling, where he struggles to confess his fears to a stranger. And after another failed therapy session, he sits down on the bench outside with his only real friend and breaks.
Doreen and the girls were very female.
Every tiny detail he remembers, from their crazy dog to how they picked on him for being the only man in the house, it feels so honest, genuine, and specific. He paints the scene of the life he misses so beautifully, and I think it's the single best monologue of his career.
He had long brown hair. Except little Gina. she kept the hair short, you know, to be different from everybody.
I love you too, Dad. I'm getting chills just writing this one. Click is another fun movie where this time Sandler's character is a super workaholic who is given a remote control that can basically control time. While he has a beautiful wife and children, a dog he loves, and his parents are still in the picture, he is obsessed with his work to a toxic degree. So he abuses his remote's divine power to just speed run his work life and witness the fruits of his labor. The catch is, of course, when he fast forwards, in real time he's running on autopilot. He doesn't pay attention to anyone around him except his work because that's how he programmed his life to be, so that's how the remote plays it out. There are a few really sad scenes in the movie of him coming to some realizations. He didn't give his wife enough attention, he didn't take good care of his own health, he didn't spend enough time with his children. He just hyper-focused on his career and pushed everything else to the background, and before he knew it, time flew by. It's very meta commentary on a workaholic's lifestyle that strikes pretty near and dear, but despite all of the relatability and all of the other movies on this list, nothing hit harder than seeing the way he treated his late father before his passing. Watching him witness his own behavior from a third-person point of view and hearing the regret and disappointment in his own actions is raw. It makes me think of all the things I wish I could have done or said differently in my own self-reflections, and we can always be better. It's important to step back and see things from another perspective. Are we doing okay? How is everyone else around us doing? What are they dealing with? Our time on this earth is so limited, so try to catch yourself next time before you slip into that autopilot.
I love you, son. I love you, son.
I love you too, Dad.
Click was an amazing movie, but it's not my favorite Sandler movie of all time. I watched and ranked every movie he's ever made in my last video, so if you want something to cheer you up a little bit after all that, please click on screen. Subscribe to my channel if you're a fellow nostalgic, and as always, this is Nerdy Bit. My name's Adam. Thanks for watching.
Goodbye.